Welcome to the Residential Movement. I'm your host, Dr. Ashley Maciejewski, a house call dentist with a lot of passion for dental home care. I'm here to encourage, equip, and empower dentists like you to begin offering dental services at the residences of patients who are best served at home. Listen in as we talk dentistry, business, ethics, mindset, and more, and learn how you can become a part of the residential movement. Hello there! Today we're being joined by our very first guest, Jen St. Pierre. Jen is one of the first people I connected with as I was beginning to plan for the launch of my dental home care service, Acama Dental. So it's fitting that she's the first guest I want to introduce to all of you. Jen's service is incredibly useful for house call dentists as well as chairside dentists, so no matter who you are, you're going to want to hear what she has to say. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Residential Movement. We have a very special guest with us today, Jen St. Pierre from My Remote Dental Assistant, and I cannot wait for you all to meet her. So, Jen, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let the listeners know who you are.
Well, hey everyone, my name is Jen St. Pierre, and I am the founder and owner of My Remote Dental Assistant. And we are so happy to be on your podcast. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for joining. I cannot wait to tell everybody about My Remote Dental Assistant because it has been a huge help to my business as I was getting started. And I absolutely adore my virtual assistant that I met through you. And I just think anyone considering a dental home care practice should know about your service. So do me a favor and let everybody know what exactly is My Remote Dental Assistant.
Yeah, so in short, My Remote Dental Assistant is a place where dental offices and dental laboratories can connect with a remote dental assistant and vice versa. So dental assistants can then find remote opportunities through us.
Perfect. Awesome. So why did you think about starting a service like this?
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason was my own experience as a registered dental assistant. So I've been one since 2015, and I have worked chairside for many years. And there was a lot of things that I loved working in office, but there was a lot of things that just didn't fit my personality. And what fit my personality the most was the technical aspect of dentistry. So I actually landed a remote patient treatment coordinating position where I worked there for 2 years. I worked in California, and the office that I worked with was on the East Coast. And I loved it. I answered their office phone. I did all of their chart maintenance. I did a lot of case acceptance work, and so that really kind of stuck with me. And then COVID happened, right? So
Oh, yes.
everything changed. And in this process, I don't even know how many dental offices had to close their doors and how many dental assistants had to stop working. So I was in a much different position because when the pandemic hit, I was employed and I stayed employed. So we didn't know when dental offices were going to reopen. We didn't know when dental assistants were going to get their jobs back. So I investigated what opportunities were available that would help dental offices bridge the gap a little bit. And I didn't find many opportunities. So I decided the industry needed an easy way to connect dental offices with remote dental assistants. And that's when My Remote Dental Assistant was born.
Well, good for you, because I just think that the pandemic, like, although it was devastating and horrible, it did spark a lot of different developments because all of a sudden we noticed maybe gaps, in different career opportunities that we wouldn't have noticed beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. We had to start thinking differently, right? So there were a lot of benefits actually to the pandemic itself.
Well, even in house call dentistry, I mean, there was a greater demand for dental house calls after the pandemic because so many people were afraid of leaving home if they have autoimmune disorders and whatnot. So my business was also positively impacted, I should say, by the pandemic.
Oh, absolutely. I can definitely see that.
How exactly do your remote dental assistants serve dentists or dental labs? You mentioned, in your personal story that they can answer phone calls and do charts remotely. What other services are you seeing from them?
Yeah, really good question. I mean, there's a plethora of things that a dental assistant, a remote dental assistant can do. Scheduling, patient treatment coordinating, requesting those records, answering that office phone. I mean, that's one of the most important ones. I talk to dental offices all day long, and they are short staffed right now, most of them across the United States, and they can't get their phones answered. So what does that mean? That means that the patients aren't being served, and well, that's a loss of revenue too, right? So that's a big one. Insurance related tasks, organization, office to office coordinating. They can do some data entry and research. uh, what about marketing and managing social medias? Those are all really big, tasks that really bog down the front office staff, right? So having that extra body that can focus on that is huge too. Um, and then, they could do even some personal assisting and some financials. So there's a lot that a remote dental assistant can do.
Oh, I believe it. I definitely have been utilizing mine, so I'm really grateful that you were able to connect us.
Awesome. Yeah, me
I
too.
know in my personal experience, I work with one of the virtual assistants that I met through you, and she's wonderful. I love her, and I know that one day I think she took off for maybe a week, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll handle my own phones. I can do this." And one man, I was playing phone tag with him all week, and he was by the time I got a hold of him, he was so upset that he couldn't get a hold of somebody because and I felt terrible. So I definitely understand the value of having someone there to answer the phone
Right.
and just to have a good experience right from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
Because when my virtual assistant is unavailable versus when she is available, like it's night and day in my business.
Big difference. Yep.
So you guys also offer training or consulting. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so it's two different parts. So we do offer training. It's one-on-one training. It's called Remote Worker Success. It can be for a dental assistant who wants to work remote and offer a remote solution to an office, but it also can be an office who needs direction on how to go about implementing a remote dental assistant into their practice. So it is a one-on-one training with me, where we go over a training module.
See, I think that's great because it is useful to train dental assistants on how to use remote technology, like maybe a cloud based software or different technology, like what you're saying. But I also think it's really important that you have the training for the dentist because so many dentists are unfamiliar with this technology that allows them to have remote workers.
Oh, absolutely. There's so many dentists that have still yet to hear that remote dental assisting is an option, that it even exists, right? So we do kind of walk them through and hold their hand because so many of them are not going to know how to implement a remote dental assistant. So we kind of take the lead there, and give them some good tips and tricks on how to get going.
That's wonderful because even in my field, there are so many dentists or dental students or patients who don't know that dental house calls are available too. So it's just important to get the word out about these services because they really can revolutionize care. They can provide access to people, well, in my case, provide access to care for people who haven't had it, but in your case, provide access to staff and access to opportunities for dental staff who might need to work from home for whatever reason. So I'm really, really excited about everything that you're doing.
100%. Yeah. And, we even like pitch to our dental offices, don't forget about, people going on maternity leave, if they're able to like work from home, I guarantee that they'll put in a day or two here and there, right? To kind of keep your like business afloat. So if they're able to remote in, you might not lose that staff.
That's incredible. Where exactly do you find dental assistants that are willing to do remote work?
We've had an overwhelming response to this. So there are a lot of dental assistants that are ready to make the transition to be a remote dental assistant. And we have found mostly they come off of, Facebook or social media efforts. We've done some other marketing. I've written an article that was published in the Dentistry IQ newsletter. They saw that, they contacted us, they find us through organic search. So they're kind of coming from all like different angles. And we definitely have like some referrals too that come to us.
What are the qualifications for your dental assistants?
So when a dental assistant comes to us, we actually do an interview with them. We don't just take on any assistant who wants to work remotely. They must have dental experience. So they can't just have worked, in a virtual job before. They have to have dental experience. And the reason why we do that is so that way they can quickly be integrated into these dental offices and just get going, right? They don't need a whole lot of training. They understand terminology, they understand procedures and services, and they can just get going, right? So there are some requirements for our dental assistants, one being that they have to have dental experience, they have to live in the United States, they have to speak English. They have to have a webcam and working internet and a cell phone. They have to have a HIPAA compliant workspace, which is typically a room at your house with a door. That way you can keep patient confidentiality confined in that one room. So then what happens is if they meet all of our expectations and requirements, they get added to our database. Okay, so this is a database where all their professional experience is housed. All right, so they have a profile picture, they have their resume, they have their salary requirement, those types of things. Now, when a dental office is looking for their remote dental assistant, they come to our website, they sign up for a plan, and they get immediate access to that database. And they can scroll through it and call their assistants of choice. So this really cuts down on hours where dental offices may have to go through resumes, right? All the information is already there. We've taken out the hard part for them.
Yeah, you make it so easy because when you're looking at the database, everyone's been screened already. It saves a lot of interviewing on the part of the dentist. I think that your service is so helpful for dentists who are looking to start their house call dental practice, because one of the reasons having a dental house call practice is so wonderful is because you can work from home out of your home. And when you work out of your home, that means that you don't have an office, but you still have the need for an office staff. You still have the need for help from auxiliary helpers. And it's just very useful to be able to find a database or service like yours that can connect people who are willing to work remotely with people like me who are dentists who have practices but don't have a brick and mortar office. So I think that your service is a huge compliment to house call dentists or anybody looking to join the residential movement.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, isn't she great? Jen is generously offering Residential Movement listeners 20% off My Remote Dental Assistant services if you use promo code PODCAST at myremotedentalassistant.com. The link will be in the show notes. myremotedentalassistant.com is the place to go to get in touch with Jen and her team. As always, whether you choose to pursue dental home care or not, you can support those in need of it by contributing to the Home Smile Care Foundation. The Home Smile Care Foundation is a nonprofit organization founded by myself and my loved ones to support those who struggle to afford at-home care. Thank you so much for pressing play on this very special episode. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to share the residential movement with all of you. I really do appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. That's a wrap on this episode of the Residential Movement. If you liked what you heard today, subscribe to stay updated and leave me a review. If you know someone who could benefit from this info, please share this with them. All of these actions help fuel the residential movement. Thanks again for listening, Doc. Keep up the good work.